Now that I actually understand the pressures and the levers of the system, when I say 200 students, we can build a plan on that where we think that like by October, we can easily crush that.
All right, everybody. So today I have the Mathers, Mr. Tony and Miss Amy Mathers, joining me. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Oh, of course. Thank you for inviting us.
Yeah. So you guys are our star clients. So we're doing our star client interview today. And you guys have been working really, really hard. But just for anybody who's been watching or who's watching this later, tell me about your school, where you're located, how you first got started, like all that stuff.
Yeah. So we're a Brazilian jiu-jitsu school. I'm second degree black belt in BJJ. I've been training for 19 years. We're in Bentonville, Arkansas. That's home of the Walmart. That's the Walmart home office is here. So, but yeah, we started 8 years ago. I was training at the only gym in town here, and I really didn't like the way they were doing things. My skill outpaced them years ahead, and my lovely wife here kept saying, "You should open a gym. You should go do your own thing." And I was like, "No, I don't want to do that. What are you, nuts?" You know, we started off just doing small kid classes, added a couple adult classes, and very slowly and very painfully from there grew.
Yeah.
So
really painfully.
Very painfully, yeah.
Got it. So 8 years ago, when you first opened the doors, did you have a small group that started with you, or did you like start from scratch? Like, tell me about that.
I had a small group. I had two really passionate students, my daughters, who had no choice, and they were my first two students, and that was it.
Okay, so really it started for the family.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And Miss Amy, you were doing your own thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. So when we got into the space we're in now, I just kind of started personal training, very part-time. We had little babies, and then that kind of grew into a huge gym for fitness, co-ed, and then we went all women only, had a very successful gym with that for about 3 years.
Yeah.
Running just women only, like nutrition, personal training, things like that. But then I noticed that when we joined with you guys, what Tony did, he was growing and expanding. And I was like, I think it's time that we put all of our energy and efforts into the jiu-jitsu business so it can just blossom and expand more, because I was kind of in his way. We did.
That's awesome. Yeah, so take everybody back to what really led you guys to get connected with us, to join 7FD. Like, what was the catalyst for that decision?
Well, I always knew I needed help, and believe me, I have made every mistake you can think of, and everything you've coached us to do, I knew I needed to do. I just had no clue how to execute on it. Like, I knew I needed some kind of tethers for the kids to make them want to be here, to get them excited about coming for jiu-jitsu. I needed people to pay more up front so that way I can acquire the next client. I knew all of those things. I just had no clue how to do it. And honestly, you were our third business coach, the first two being just primarily fitness gym coaches. And the whole time she's getting advice, things work for her. I'm like, hey, what about me? And they would give me some advice that I was like, how that doesn't work. I already know that's not the thing. And I told her for forever, I'm like, I'm just getting so exhausted. And this time last year, I said to her that if I'm in the same position at the end of the year that I am now, I'm done. I can't, because I mean, we have the resources, but there's no profit, and I'm just tired. I'm exhausted. I can't just keep spinning my gears, putting in 110% to get one new client, you know? And we'd seen you around, and I was once bitten, twice shy with coaches, and I was like, I don't know. But my wife was like, I got a really good feeling about this one. And she's like, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it. Give it one last good try, and we'll see what happens. So I was incredulous at first, just because, like I said, you were our third coach, but third time's a charm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I know that feeling of like backs against the wall. It was either going to work or you're going to close it down, because that was the same conversation I had with my dad when I was 18. He was at that point. He was just like, look, like, I'm going to make more money in construction than I am going to be doing this. So I'm only keeping it open for you. Like, we got to do this thing or we got to close it down. So I think that can really help you get very clear on the decisions that you have to make when there's actual timeline that's so Okay, so you guys came in. Obviously, there was a lot of trust you had to have there with that and trust in the process. So what were some things right away that you felt supported in or that you felt changed, pretty fast once you got started with us?
So we signed up in February of 23 and like in the middle of the month. And then in March last year, at that point was like the most students I'd ever signed up in 1 month of like 12. So, which I know when you say it, but it's like, it was also the most I've ever had. Like I was finally getting people coming in for appointments because like I said, I knew the systems, I knew what I had to do because my wife had been doing it. I just didn't know how to make it martial arts. So now that I finally started to see that success for myself, I started getting people to come in, and my sales weren't that great. It took me like 3-4 months, 5-6 months to get my script down to like exactly how to get that sale going and build all the systems and processes. Like I don't think I was really humming until September, but I at least saw some traction right away. And that really, I was like, okay, maybe this could.
Yeah. And Amy, what about for you? Did you see any shifts like in Tony? Did you see any shifts in and all of that?
Yes. I think him just having support from our coach to go back, like the sales suck. I need you to like listen. I need you to help me. And just getting those little bitty pointers for him. Like it's always the smallest change. We say it in jiu-jitsu. What's your angle? Just a little bit. That's all it is. And I think it just having that of someone who's been experienced in martial arts really helped him tweak his thought process for a lot of just sales, even retention, even just like the overall structure of everything. He really started to trust you guys because he was a little, I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm just gonna do it.
I mean, you already had 2 that didn't, so yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
or it would sound like that is the craziest thing. That's not gonna work. I'm like, just go do it, and then his mind would blown. And
yeah, to add to that, since we only had fitness coaches before, the only person I could talk to about this was my wife, and the whole time she's just like, I don't know, honey. So to actually have someone who it felt like I was taking crazy pills for years, to actually have someone to vindicate everything I'm saying and actually understand what I was talking about, the struggles, it felt so relieving, and that really helped build the trust for me.
Yeah, and it is different. Some of the stuff that maybe that works in fitness, even with small groups, might seem like it would work in martial arts, but it's just a different animal, because even though you're in fitness, you're educating people, you're not educating them quite to the same degree that you're educating them in a skill set, which is what happens in martial arts. So, and it's not necessarily that jiu-jitsu is the most cookie cutter martial art either. It is something that is very different than another martial art maybe that's been around for a really long time and that tons of people do all throughout the world. So
and to add to that, we had no clue how to run a kids program. I mean, when we signed up with you, we had like 82 students and 15 of them were kids. The rest were all like, we had no idea how to build a kids program, how to just everything that goes into it, all the bells and whistles, make them excited being there, like I said before. So
yeah, I would say that is the biggest change that we got out of Seven Figure Dojo was our kids program. And we completely, I don't want to say turn it around, because we didn't really turn anything around. We just built it from the ground up. We tore it apart, restarted, and our oldest daughter runs the youth program. Like it's amazing. We have all these kids in here every day.
They're excited to come here.
They're excited. That's the thing. It was boring before, because martial arts can be kind of boring. And
one of my most embarrassing moments, because we just pulled it out of the shed and threw it out. One thing I tried was I had a treasure box of little like when you go to the dentist, of little just scrap toys that if you're good at the end, you get to pick a toy out at the end of class, because I'm just like, I need to motivate them somehow. So when I said I made every mistake, I made every mistake. And like I looked at it, I was just like, oh my God, that is so embarrassing. I can't believe I did that. But right in the trash.
Yeah, definitely having the content and the structure of the class to be able to keep the students engaged. And eventually those kids are going to turn into teens that are going to be your future instructors. And those are going to be the people that are going to either run your 7-figure school that you're building or start other locations. So kids are definitely the future of continuous growth for schools and academies. That's a big one. Okay, so you guys you've been knocking it out, consistent growth. Where are you guys at now? Beginning of 2024, so it's been almost a year. So like, where are you at in terms of student count, revenue? Like, what does that look like for you guys now?
We finished the year at 139 students, so which the churn has dropped precipitously over the last year. It was at like 8-9% at the beginning of the year. We got it down to like 4%, which is very manageable. So like I said, we had 2 spaces right next door to each other, and since my wife closed her gym at the end of November, we just finished renovating the space behind you. Do you see those things on the wall? Those are wall pads, and for the first time in 8 years, we have wall pads, because like the old over there just has a bunch of holes in the wall. But so yeah, we just got this built and ready for students to come back tomorrow, and we still have the old space next door, so now we'll be running dual mats and things like that. So our goal is to get to 200 by the end of the year, which we think now with the systems we built and everything that we know what's going on, we can actually, because one one question I was asked a lot when we signed up is like, what's your goal for the month? I'm like, I don't know, anything. 500 students, I don't care. I can't even get 5 in the door. A goal means nothing to me. But now that I actually understand the pressures and the levers of the system, when I say 200 students, we can build a plan on that where we think that like by October we can easily crush that. And our lease here is up in August, and we want to in August of 25, and we want to be hurting. We want to be hurting by then, where we really have to contemplate: do we need to move to a bigger space where we're just like we have kids falling out the door, which is where we were when we only had the one mat space over there. We had like standing room only for parents. So now we got there, it's like, okay, let's make it that tight again.
Yeah, well, that's definitely a huge shift from beginning of 2023, like we're going to close possibly, to we're going to crush it with 200 students. Like, how does that make you guys feel as a family, having all of that happen?
So 2022 was one of the worst years for us financially. I had to sell so much of my personal possessions just to make it from like May to September. And, my kids are like, hey, where'd the PlayStation go? Like, I had to sell it so I can pay for the roof over the house. And so it was to go from that to this, where we had a great Christmas, where we were able to actually really afford Christmas presents. And believe me, we're very, very bottom rung middle class. So when I say like we bought Christmas presents, it's like, hey, that thing that's been broken for 8 years? Well, I was able to pay the $200 to get it fixed, So just to go to that was such a relief, and it was so nice and now we're able to, this is very much a family business. Our daughter just graduated, teaches the kids, both my sons who are younger trained. Our other daughter is our front desk person. So now we've really become a family business, whereas before it was just me doing everything. So the financial success is great. The bonding as a family has been spectacular. I feel a lot closer to my wife and my kids now. So it's been awesome.
How's that feel for you, Amy, being the mom, kind of seeing all this happen?
The beginning of the year, I decided, well, not beginning of the year, I guess it was summer. I decided I need to close my business. I need to support my family in a different way. I need to support my husband in this because I need him to feel like we can do this 100%. And he needs to have his wife's support. And that was what really led me to close the fitness side of it. But to see him excel as a coach, as business owner, has been amazing. To see our kids like look at us and go, I want to be a part of this and not like turn away, has been really gratifying, and it just makes me really happy. I feel really blessed. I know he feels that way as well. I hope one day they make a movie about our family, and
there you go.
It's just like this. We hope to be really successful in this town, and we just want to give back. And so to be able to be here with our family, have these kids come in and support them and be a part of that is just an honor. And so it's been a really cool experience past year.
Yeah, I just want to say with that there's no way I could have done any of this without my wife. I mean, I was already, the way I built the business before I signed up with you was terrible. I had to do everything. There was literally no bandwidth for me to do anything at all. So just to have her support initially, so I didn't have to be dad as much, so I could go do the sales, which was good. But then after that, I couldn't grow at all. No system, I couldn't implement I couldn't do anything without her getting in there. And that's in the summer. That's when she decided. She got in there, started watching videos. I couldn't even watch the videos at first because I was like, okay, well, I have to go do 20 other things,
Right.
I just want to make it very clear that like all of this is because of her and her support and doing all the back end stuff. Yeah, I'm the face. Yeah, I'm out in front. But she just stopped asking me questions now because it's just like, because every time the answer is whatever you think, hon. Whatever you think. I don't care. Wait, hey, should we hang this or whatever? I don't care. I'm just gonna keep on work.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, what would you guys say if somebody was like considering potentially coming in and working with us inside Seven Figure Dojo? Now that you've been on the inside, you've been with us for almost a year. I mean, we're coming up on a year and another month, basically. What would you say to that person that might be in the same situation as you and is like, okay, this might be my last chance? Any thoughts or suggestions that you would say to them?
Yeah, I would say two things. One, you've already made the hard decision of already having the business. That was the hardest part right there. So signing up with you guys, for me, it felt like it was the hardest decision. It really wasn't. There was way more harder decisions I had to make before that if I really put everything in perspective. So you've already made the hard choice. And second is, if you already feel like your back's against the wall, you have nothing to lose. And you don't, I tell this to all my students, when you're 40, when you're 50, you're going to sit around saying, man, you're not going to say, oh, I should have stayed home more. I should have done less. You're always going to say, I should have done more. I say that now. I should have done more. I should have done more. I should have signed up sooner. I should have done all those kind of things. So if you already feel like your back's against the wall, do it. If you feel like you're stuck and you can't progress, do it. Even there's always something that you can learn. Even if you're at halfway to 7-figure, there's plenty more you can learn. You need a coach. Do it. There's no reason not to. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, awesome. Well, you guys you're crushing it. I just want to say that the reason why you're getting all this success is because you're not just taking this information and just getting information and holding on to it. You're actually implementing. Information is worth pennies, but implementation is worth millions. I have no doubt you guys keep pushing for it, keep crushing like this. You're going to hit 7 figures. It's just going to keep building that momentum. You got your family behind you. You're implementing the things we asked. So I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for the future and what 2024 looks like. And thanks, guys, for being our star clients and for doing this interview.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much for everything you've done. We're just following in your footsteps. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, we'll see you later.
Bye.